Gremlins! Welcome to my first character introduction video. This is Hazel Quickthorn, the first character whose portrait I drew. She is a witch from a vaguely medieval period. Before I talk about her, I do want to mention that modern-day witches, or Wiccans, do exist, and that I created this character before I knew about them. This is not a depiction of what an actual witch or witchcraft is like. This is entirely the aesthetic of a fantasy witch that I created as a child. With that out of the way, let me tell you about Hazel. She started out as a very generic witch, basically every fantasy witch trope mashed together. I went through a witch phase in the summer before 6th grade, before Hazel even existed, and a lot of her character traits are taken from the generic witch I pretended to be. More recently, I've made Hazel into an actual character with an actual world that is developed beyond fantasy. She lives in a wood named Spook's Wood. Please keep in mind that I named it when I was around 12. In this wood, all sorts of spooky fantasy creatures, like witches, werewolves, vampires, and ghosts, live together in a society hidden from humans. The creatures are nocturnal and the wood is always dim, going from twilight to midnight to dawn, but never day. There is a town in the middle of Spook's Wood, but Hazel lives alone, a ways away from that town. Her home is small, slightly lopsided, with a large garden surrounded by twisted trees. In the garden she grows herbs and plants for her potions. She also has a pond of frogs, and ravens nest in the trees around her. Hazel has a pet cat, a familiar, named Shadow. Hazel is a potion maker. Her home is full of shelves of ingredients and potions and empty bottles. She has piles of old recipe books. She also has an old fireplace with an iron chimney, always smoking with unusual colors. She always has at least one potion on the go, either simmering in her cauldron, or sitting in the moonlight for a month, or purifying into magical steam. These potions are sold at the Full Moon Midnight Market, a monthly market in the center of town where all the crafts creatures come to sell and buy and trade. Hazel also has a lot of business where creatures come to her for specific potions. She is part of a coven of other potion witches, and may often share recipes, ingredients, and tea. In terms of looks, Hazel looks pretty much exactly like what I thought witches looked like when I was a tween. Wild green hair, pale eyes, freckles. Originally, her eyes were red-rimmed and she cried blood, but I removed that character trait in more recent updates. She also originally only wore black robes, but now she has a black robe open over a vaguely medieval-inspired gown. Her hair is still wild and green. As I mentioned earlier, I had a witch phase in middle school. By the time I was creating these characters, I was mostly done with that phase, but I still enjoyed pretending to be a witch. My first characters were all created to be used in imaginary play with my friends, to simplify the process of making a character on the spot. I used Hazel when we played witchy games. Then later I began becoming my characters just for myself, and would dress up in my dad's dark green dressing gown and a crocheted witch hat. In this image, I tried to capture as many details about Hazel's character as possible. I've shown her shelf of potions and potion ingredients, and her cauldron of strangely steaming liquid. I've shown Hazel gathering potions to pack for the midnight market, her familiar Shadow at her side. I've shown the haphazardly stacked recipe books. I've shown a magical fire that doesn't need fuel to burn. I'm really happy with this drawing. It took a long time, but I think all the details were worth it. I like how the fire lights Hazel's face, and how the potion cupboard is in shadow. I like the fire, and the way I colored the inside of the fireplace. I like the texture of the walls and floor. I hope you enjoyed being introduced to Hazel Quickthorn, the witch and potion maker, and one of my first characters. I'll see you all when I see you. Bye!